This video starts on a white screen. The Microsoft logo appears. The screen fades to black. A green background featuring the letters A and I appears, followed by a slideshow showcasing new technologies.
AI for Accessibility is a Microsoft program committed to influencing the future of technology to empower people living with disabilities. Whether reimagining the future of accessible education, building experiences that are accessible for people of all abilities, or developing AI-powered technology to make the world more inclusive, we are pushing the limits of what AI can do.
Screen fades to black, a speaker appears.
Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in today. Together with me are two fantastic folks from DAISY Consortium, Dipendra and Richard. Welcome to our conversation today. DAISY Consortium has been doing amazing work in the disability space for a long time, and we have had the pleasure of working with you in the last year through the AI for Accessibility program as you're really advancing what innovation can do in this space. And I wanted to learn more from you today about what was the project about and why you decided to take that body of work on top of everything else that you do.
Yes, thanks, Yona. So the project actually was seen because of the issues related to lack of reading materials for persons with print disabilities, especially in the areas which are considered to be low resource areas, even in the low and middle income group countries. So we have a large divide of economic and a social divide, which is there even in low resource countries. Imagine being in a place where I was just a month ago, where I met with a group of students who are in school. They're enrolled in a school. They are from the age group of say 6 to 13 years. But when I asked them to spell their name, they didn't have answers, and primarily because they haven't had an opportunity to read a book themselves. They've never had this book that they could read themselves. They were not taught Braille till now because there is lack of special educators. There are very few to come by, because in this particular region, which a block, as we may call it, had about 250 schools with about 400 students with disabilities studying in them, and just 2 special educators have to take care of all the special needs of these children studying in these mainstream schools. And how to take these books to children studying in these environments, because thanks to all the opportunities that are there, we do have these books in accessible format. These books are there in accessible digital format. They can be converted to audio. They can be converted to Braille as and when they are required. But how to get these books in the hands of these children that we are talking about, which are in the areas where there may be lack of electricity, there may not be electricity coming for more than 8 hours in a day, or the connectivity may be an issue sometimes. And so to address these issues is primarily why we got into this project.
When we're thinking of the disability divide and the reality that people with disabilities face, education is critical, and having access to education is pivotal in terms of later success in life. So I found myself reacting to what you're sharing because it's such an important space. And Richard, to go to you, because I know DAISY has been, to Dipendra's point, has been in the space for a long time. How would this particular project tackle the issue that Dipendra just shared with us?
Yeah, thank you. So in the DAISY Consortium, that's made up of member organizations that are libraries serving people with print disabilities. And we at DAISY, we provide technologies, tools and standards for these libraries, including a core technology, which is used to convert from one accessible format to another. This has existed for many years, and it's used by the IT departments in these libraries. But in the circumstances that Dipendra is talking about, there aren't IT departments. People need a tool that's easy to install and use, where they can convert. And the magic here is we're targeting, instead of the sophisticated audio players, braille devices, computers and apps that are used in richer countries, we want to target the devices that are more likely to be in the hands of people in low resource areas, such as a basic MP3 player, a really basic phone, or even a solar-powered audio player that can be charged from the sun and yet can be used to navigate through your talking textbook. So through this project, what we've done is we've taken our industrial strength conversion technology. We've worked on it so it will work on the lower powered computers that exist in these regions, such as a basic PC. We've made it easy to install and configure. And we've developed new conversions that will target the kinds of devices that people have. We've also extended the support for different languages, so that languages that previously have not been supported for digital braille now can be generated, so that students can reel on low-cost braille devices in countries in Africa, for example.
And on the languages that you mentioned that were not previously supported, can you share a little bit more about the process of actually selecting the languages and what languages are part of the project?
So we have, so we go to the various partners. We have actually been delivering capacity building programs in various countries in Africa, Asia, and several parts in even Latin America. And we have found that there have been large gaps there. So we actually have set out few criterias there, that whether a language, actually we had textbooks in a particular language or not, whether that language um, uh, people actually had access to at least some technology, so that when we create a solution for that language, we are also able to see the impact of that. So like when we chose Chichewa, which is the language spoken in Malawi, so there is an organization which is reaching out to that area with refreshable braille displays. And when we added Chichewa language in LibLouis, it simply means that the braille displays will be capable of delivering books in Chichewa language to the students right away. So the impact is also seen. There is at least some degree of implementation which is happening, and the availability of solution in that language would have immediate impact on the learnings there.
And Dipendra, exciting that in addition to Chichewa, we were able to impact on other languages too. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, of course. And sorry. So the other key, criteria for us was that the language should be spoken by a larger number of people, and that's how we zeroed in on Swahili, which is a language which unfortunately did not have a Braille translation support or a TTS support in it. And this is a language which is actually spoken in many languages in Africa, including Kenya, Tanzania, so a very large population is actually having this language as their primary language.
And you both have mentioned partnerships, and I know DAISY is incredibly connected with the disability space and accessibility space. Can you tell us a little bit more about the partnerships and how that played a part in this project, but in general in the work that you do?
Well, we partner with big and small organizations. So I'll give a big example, which is the United Nations agency WIPO. This is responsible for something called the Marrakesh Treaty, which provides a legal framework for the transfer of accessible books across country boundaries. Now, as part of that work, they have developed a library, a global library of accessible titles, which can go to partner organizations, of over 800,000 titles. And so working with this library as part of the project, we're testing out the new tool that we've developed to make sure that people can get titles from that library, that huge library, and then convert them to formats that it can use in the devices in their country. So that's working with a really big partner.
Right. And since the DAISY Consortium in itself is a network and networking is our core strength, we have network partners in various parts of the world. For example, for this project itself, we are working with a partner in India, in Sri Lanka, and these are, for example, LV Prasad Eye Institute in southern part of India, the DAISY Lanka Foundation in Sri Lanka, and these are examples because we have similar partners in almost 70 to 80 countries all across the world, and quite a lot of them are in the low and lower middle income group countries. And through these partners, we are reaching out to the absolute grassroots area, and we are able to see where gaps are, where these solutions can really make a difference. For example, the solar powered player that Richard just spoke about, we are actually loading books that any student would need for their entire year on this one single player and handing it out to people. And you'd be surprised to know that even at the age of 15 or 16, when they're getting these players as part of the pilot that we are doing, it's the first time that they have had books that they can read themselves, actually. And most of these students are falling into that category. It was a bit of a surprise even for me, so to say, because I thought that they had at least some access to some books, maybe not with that rich reading experience that we are actually delivering to them, but absolutely surprising findings that are coming even to us.
So, Dipendra, you're really illustrating the concrete impact of this project, that through a piece of software that previously did not exist, it could be used by one of our partners to take an existing accessible book. They can choose what they're converting it to. For the first time, it can move to a solar-powered player, for example, or they can take a book that previously they couldn't play because it was in a format that the MP3 players didn't understand. It can be converted for those. And for the first time, it can reach students and adults. And the books that they've made can actually reach the end users and they can be reading because of what's been achieved through this partnership with Microsoft.
100%. And also the power of multi-mode delivery, I think, which is getting strengthened with this project, which means that if we have hundreds of thousands of books in a standard format like DAISY, whether it is digital text or audio or a combination of both, these actually can be delivered in a format which is compatible with whatever is available in the hands of users. So we don't expect everybody to be having the same DAISY player in their hands, even if they have a very low cost solar player or the lowest costing refreshable braille displays, our books will work on their systems.
I like to always ask our guest speakers for homework for the audience, because I think there's such an opportunity for all of us to learn more and to discover new areas. So I'm going to ask you both, what homework would you give our audience?
So this tool is based on a project that we call Pipeline. And that's where you can find out the tool. You can download it yourself and even try it. So the homework is to go to daisy.org/pipeline, where you can read more about the tool. You can download it for Windows or Mac, or you can try out a conversion yourself.
And the second part of the assignment can be that if you do not have anything to convert as of now and you want to create that first little document on in accessible format, which can then be converted to various formats using this tool, you can come to our site learning.daisy.org. There are several methods of creating your first accessible book, and you're welcome to come and try that out. And if you have any doubts, there is also the section for contact us. You can easily get in touch with us and learn more about it.
I love that homework, and I love the fact that you called out the importance of building accessible by design, right? Starting with accessibility in mind for books and everything we do. So Dipendra and Richard, thank you so much for joining us today. I always enjoy speaking with you, and it's such an important area you're working in, and I'm excited for what the future holds as well. And for everybody who tuned in, thank you so much, and thank you for helping us close the disability divide.